I would like to share my perspective on the elements of talent management that are conducive to positive and negative organizational cultures. Thank you for your time. One of the elements that I believe are important from experience and observation and our readings is innovation. I think encouraging innovation is key to an organization's success and inspiration and motivation of the staff. So, for example, at my organization, our current leader right now really encourages creativity, innovation, and it's really paid off, literally and figuratively. And for us, it starts with a trust between our leader and the directors who are coming up with the ideas and running the programs that are bringing in revenue. And our executive director knows that he has talented staff, and he nurtures a culture of innovation by encouraging us to run with our ideas. He provides a really great environment for us to feel free to come to him with ideas that we have, and he's really good at encouraging us to run with our ideas, but also to involve teamwork, involve each other. And this has worked out great in a lot of instances. Last year, we had a huge fundraising event, which was actually a bit of a risk because it cost us a lot of money to put the event on. However, it was a huge success, but what it came down to was him giving us the encouragement and telling us that he knew that we could do it and letting us take that risk because, yes, it could have been a flop, especially with fundraising. You just never know what direction it's going to go. And this was something we'd never done before. So I think innovation in an organization or encouraging innovation is about making your staff feel like you trust them and having talented staff in the first place so that you can trust them as a leader. Half the battle for staff putting on, for example, an event like this is knowing that their leader has their back. I think that's half the battle. The other half of the battle is using your talent and being able to pull it off, but knowing that somebody has faith in you. Negatively, I worked at a place where my boss was always critical and I never wanted to try anything new. I didn't want to be innovative because I knew it'd get shot down and I'd get blamed for the failure. I was afraid of the criticism. I just wanted to do enough to do my job, and that's it, not anything else. But in this case, our boss also, even when we do have failures or setbacks, he talks through with us, but he doesn't punish us. We learn from it and we celebrate our successes. Connected to that, another element that I think is essential for talent management is hiring. And that is to say, paying attention to the competencies before you actually seal the deal. This is going to impact the culture, who you bring in. And you want to understand what kind of talent you're bringing in, if the person is going to be a good fit in your organization, and if they're going to fit well with the other team members, and also with their skills, if it's going to work for the job that they are applying for. Along with that comes onboarding, which I believe is very important for positive culture. And that's something that I've learned a lot about. In the past, I would be really busy and be going crazy, and I would hire someone and throw them in. But that's no excuse for the way I handled it because a lot of times these staff ended up being unhappy and didn't settle in well. So onboarding is essential. And along with that, when you're hiring according to competencies and the onboarding process can be greatly enhanced by having found these people through referring current staff. So probably 80% of the staff that I supervise were referred to me through other staff that I had that I knew and trusted well. And so I think that it's really important to ask the people around you who are talented and who are good at their jobs and say, hey, do you know anybody who you think would be a good fit here? They know the culture. They know who, if they're friends or someone they know up here would be a good fit. And usually they want to bring someone on too who's going to be help them succeed in their job. And I've never, that's almost never failed me. More often than not, the bad fits have been the ones that I've had to get like off the street. But referring talent to talent is a great way to hire. And then another thing that's, I think, essential to talent management for organizational culture is storytelling and promoting your brand. And for my organization, that's really important because we do a lot of fundraising and we connect with the community. That's an essential part of our ability to survive and thrive, is telling our story. And so it's essential for us to pay attention to how our brand is being marketed and make sure that the vision of our organization is lining up with our actions, that we're constantly measuring the culture and making sure the staff that we hire, going along with the hiring, understand the brand of the organization. They understand the culture so that they can tell the story genuinely and successfully. And for us, telling the story time and again has served us well. We've had a weak point in our organization where the staff weren't bought in and they couldn't tell the story. And people know that. People in the community know when the staff aren't bought in and when someone can't tell the story of your organization if they don't believe in it themselves. So back to hiring people who are a good organizational fit and who are going to believe in the mission. And for us, our mission is essential to our organization's message and getting the mission out and making sure the staff understand the mission. The last thing I'm going to mention is hierarchy, which is a negative when it's highlighted in our organization. So in the talent management book, a phrase that I remember from there is "up is no longer the way." And when I first came onto our organization, there was one of the leaders in particular that loved hierarchy, and she was always on a power trip, and she was always talking about the hierarchy. Well, I'm in charge of this person. They need to, it was very stifling for ideas, and all she cared about was like the power that she had. And people didn't want to bring up ideas. They didn't want to talk. It was a stiff way of managing. The superstars, or who would have been superstars, were quickly started looking for other jobs. We lost good people. Anyway, when we got a new manager for our organization, he pretty much just obliterated the hierarchy and created an atmosphere of open door, and everybody shares their ideas, and really, really changed the culture. The relationships between employees and managers and leaders became on a very similar plane. There's obviously some lines you have to draw when it comes to staff and their bosses, but the productivity of our organization went way up. People were free in staff meetings to bring up thoughts they had and ideas without getting shot down. And that goes back to innovation. People were encouraged to be innovative, even if they weren't in charge of a department. If they had an idea, they bring it up, and they were encouraged to do that. And my boss really does coach from the sidelines, and he empowers us. He encourages agility, and again, innovation. So the hierarchy power trip culture is no longer welcome at our organization. Our meetings are now full of staff giving ideas and people feeding off of those. And that's another factor that I think is important, especially in a nonprofit where I work, where we succeed off of the ideas and events that we can run. We need the talent of our people to speak up, and we don't need anyone to be stifled. And I have seen this be transformative to our organization. And I could go on. There are more factors, but I will stop here. And thank you so much for your time.